In May of 2016, my life would be changed in a dramatic way I never thought would happen. While working, I fell out of a passenger seat of a golf cart and I hit my head on a lamppost. I ended up with a depressed skull fracture, a hematoma, a left orbital eye fracture. I went through 2.5 hours of surgery to fix my skull and the hematoma. I thought surgery would be the hardest part, but I was wrong. Looking back, surgery would be the easiest, and I would end up being diagnosed with a traumatic brain injury, or a TBI. Going through 1 year of physical therapy, occupational, speech, and neuropsych testing, I would learn that the hardest part of this recovery is the psychological effects of a TBI. Seeing things you used to be able to do and not being able to do them. Having a lack of control of your mood and relearning tasks that used to be easy, like having your eyes focus on a page while reading, a changing of interests, and so much more. In the movie and play Medea Gets a Job, there's a scene where Hattie says, "They dropped me off. I waited and waited thinking they would come back, but they didn't. I had to learn, it ain't something you get used to, you just learn to deal with it." I started basing my life off this quote. I found myself sitting in that rocking chair that Hattie was sitting in, waiting for the old Ted to come back, that there was no solution that would get me out of that rocking chair. And as Hattie said, I would just have to learn how to deal with it. I realized after talking to a few people that I was only focusing on the negatives. And at this point, you're probably wondering, well, how could there be any positives from this trauma? By asking my friends, family, and mentors, even some of the therapists I was working with, here's what they told me. I'm a nicer, less abrasive person. As cheesy as it sounds, I'm much more grateful for the small things. I pay much more attention to building positive relationships and maintaining them. And finally, I don't have shame problems when it comes to not knowing certain things. By focusing on these positives, I found myself a little each day leaving that rocking chair. Don't get me wrong, I still have some days when I even find myself curled up in that rocking chair. But learning these positives from this trauma has helped my recovery. I'm able to move forward more than backwards, along with the help from the medical professionals that I have worked with. All trauma is different, and I can't speak to what you're going through. But why not give it a shot and try asking people what positives have they noticed in you, whether it be emotionally, physically, or personality-wise, since the trauma has occurred. As crazy as it sounds, it really does get better.